Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Teaching Tax Flow podcast, episode 189. Today, we are going deep into the roots of teaching tax flow. If you didn't know it, our actual slogan that you've probably seen us out there talking about, if you've really listened to every show, you know that's what we're all about. We literally are the voice of tax planning. So when I say we, I really mean Chris. I just help him deliver what the heck he's talking about. But it's a very important term that I don't think a lot of people know exactly what it is. You could probably assume what it is, but there's a lot more that goes behind the scenes. I know he has a fantastic analogy that he's going to describe to you guys. I'm not going to give any teasers for it. That's on him, but it really, really will illustrate this for you. So we're talking about planning. I'm not going to say anything else because I'm going to start to actually tread water a little bit and give you too much. So without further ado, let's actually talk about TTF, Teaching Tax Flow, and the voice of tax planning. Chris Picciurro, welcome back, man. Let's dive into this one.
Yeah,
Let's tell
great to
people
be
why the heck
back.
they're here.
Well, first of all, thank you for calling me the voice of tax planning. However, we are building and we have built something very special, which is the Teaching Tax Flow community. Teaching Tax Flow is the voice of tax planning. Teaching Tax Flow is our community that if you are watching this or listening to this, you are part of. We want you to be more part of. The tax planning community includes tax professionals. It includes taxpayers. It includes implementation partners, meaning you're going to hear today, ideas are cheap, implementation is valuable. So it's important to have the people in this community help taxpayers implement. So what is our mission? Legally and ethically reduce the tax you pay in your lifetime. Is that going to happen by accident? No, it's going to happen by action. And that's what we focus on with tax planning and strategy. Before we dive into what it is, and we have to understand that tax planning and strategy does not replace tax preparation. It's also not the same as tax preparation. It complements it. It complements it. That's very, very important to understand, because too many taxpayers have an unreasonable expectation. I know we might get some nasty comments on YouTube on this one, but they have an unreasonable expectation that tax professionals either have the capacity and knowledge to help them with planning when they're focused on tax compliance, and that's their job. So that's why tax planning and strategy is so important. Taxes are, in general, your largest expense in your lifetime. So we go through painstaking efforts to reduce the cost of our gas. Why? Maybe we have a reward system if through a grocery store that we're putting numbers in. We go through a lot of trying to find coupons on either on your phone or you have through a membership club or something like that. But we don't put any effort, we in general, taxpayers in general, on actually reducing your taxes legally and ethically. And one of the things, John, that you obviously wrote the forward on and were integral in writing the Defeating Taxes book, we are extremely passionate about helping lower to moderate income families reduce their tax, because $100, $200 extra in their pocket per month could be a significant portion of their disposable income. So that's the why. The very wealthy and very high income households are going to find a way to tax plan. And yes, we have, in a private CPA practice, have we saved millions and millions of dollars every year? Absolutely. But we believe in this community, we believe that we should be helping everyone out. So let's talk about what the heck tax planning is, right?
And Chris, before you do that, I would almost say, so two things, right? Tax planning, and I know you said this at some point, we actually put in that book in many places, right? It's more of a mindset really than anything, right? Because I think if anything, right, we see more, and when I say we, any of the communities on this chat we have, a lot of taxpayers, I think, are frankly in their own way. They can't get out of their own way. They're like, "Oh, I can't do anything with it, so I'm not gonna pay any attention to it." Again, the word planning is in it, and I think we all know what the word planning is, but how do you actually execute on that is where I think they need to lean on somebody. So I say that mindset. Now I'll ask a question. You don't have to answer it now. Just somewhere in this discussion here, I'm sure it's gonna come out, is I definitely wanna talk about some of the players AKA the people that are really part of that. So I know we'll get into it at some sort.
And yeah, and what can happen is someone who trying to dip their toes in tax planning might try to do something on their own without the support of a community that includes tax professionals, that includes implementation partners, and it could backfire. Real quick example, very, very quick. And this was an episode a few episodes ago. Backdoor Roth IRA contributions. Those are meant for people in a higher income situation that cannot make Roth IRA contributions because their income is too high. So what do? They go on TikTok, they go on Instagram. Again, we have Instagram and TikTok accounts. They aren't where Teaching Tax Flow likes to live but we have a presence. And they say, oh, I'm going to put money into my traditional IRA, non-deductible, and then I'm going to convert it over to a Roth. However, they forget to read the print that says you have to do this properly and you have to have no money in traditional IRAs. And here's what happens. You take someone that's trying to contribute to a Roth IRA and because they do it the wrong way, they actually trigger a taxable event because they have a bunch of pre-tax money in their traditional IRA. Again, not to get in the weeds too much, but misapplying it's the equivalent. We're gonna use because John, I know you're a gearhead, right? You like those. Rumor has it that you just let one of your babies go recently. Your
I did.
big gas diesel hog of a truck that I so loved. Actually, the financial guy in me didn't like it, but I know it was one of your
the efficient person in me loved it because I can drive from Ann Arbor, Michigan, all the way to Nashville and back in one tank of fuel. But it's all good.
That's all right. But it would cost you about the same as a whole airplane.
That is true.
But that's all right. But so it's the equivalent of, great, I know how to drive a car, but I'm going the wrong way on a one-way street. So you could actually be doing more damage than good. You're better off never driving at all. So let's stick with the analogy on tax planning and strategy. What is it? It's very defined, in my opinion. Tax compliance, which is tax preparation, is everything looking backwards, right? We're looking back at transactions. We're reporting them on a tax form, but there's very little we can change about what has already happened. We have not invented a time machine yet. Tax planning and strategy is everything looking forward. Okay, so there's a lot more we can change. So in the analogy of a vehicle, when you're driving, Johnny, even now you downsized your car, I think. What's bigger, your dashboard or your rear view window or your rear view mirror? Your windshield?
So your windshield by a long shot. Right?
Sure.
For a number of reasons.
Yeah, so you're looking out the front of your car. It's a lot bigger than that rear view mirror that's super small. But guess what we do? I'm not saying most taxpayers, they're so focused on that rear view mirror, which is tax compliance, they can't see in front of them. And they're going to run into something that they shouldn't. If you focus forward, you're focusing on tax planning and strategy. And that's what is very important. Now, there are a few little things you can do and count them back for last year. But ultimately, that's in the back. Learn from that, but go forward. Move forward. So you might not like a result. Like even in our private CPA practice, we just had a client that owed significant amount of money. We engaged in tax planning and strategy. They decided, they basically dragged their feet too long, got through the holidays and didn't do anything. And we're talking 6 figures and they're upset. Now they're not upset at us. They're upset at the situation. I can't fix that. But we're already engaging in a tax plan for this current year for them. And we're going to now know where we're at.
This podcast is brought to you by Legacy Lock. If you are new to estate planning or simply need to review your current plan, Legacy Lock makes it as easy as pie. Legacy Lock is a unique platform that enables you to easily complete your attorney-drafted documents conveniently from the comfort of your home or office. Your first step to this peace of mind is simply visiting teachingtaxflow.com/legacy.
And with this too, Chris, it's funny. I feel like I've given up on the bad dad jokes about 20 episodes ago, and now I've switched to more analogies, right? But thinking about the car, right? Because I think everybody can, if you have to, close your eyes and pause this and stare out the window in a minute. but everybody can relate to that, right? Because we've been in a vehicle or we drive one. So you can literally visualize this. Rearview mirror, windshield, one's bigger. I almost think about it too, right? Like those are two constants. You can always look forward, you can always look back a little bit. You can't change where you just went. You can completely control where you're going, but then you bring in like tools, right? Like you have, Waze and map, all this stuff now. So by using those tools, it helps you even forecast further, aka tax planning as a whole, right? Like it's not you, the taxpayer, has to do this. You're using the resources, the tools at your disposal to even see further than just what you taxpayer might see as next month. The tax pro might say, hey, in 5 years, something you do today impacts it, right?
Exactly. That's the second part of it. So now once you change that mentality that you're actually looking correctly, right, forward, understand what was behind you, but now you can see the potholes. Now you can see the turns. Now you know where you need to go. How do you get there? Do you get there? So if you get there by just driving straight and never turning, or, I kind of joke around and tease myself about my age back in my day, a snot-nosed little kid would go with his mom and they'd go to AAA and get a triptych and they'd write all over it. Now we have Waze, now we have Google Maps and Apple Maps. But the point is, if I want to go from one place where I'm at to where I want to go, so remember, you got to know where you're at, number one. So if you don't know where you're at financially, what your income is going to be approximately, then it's hard to go anywhere. But once you know where you're at and you want to get to a certain place, you plug it in your GPS, right? And who's that voice in your GPS? That's going to be your tax planner, your tax professional, your implementation partners. That's the team of people that are going to guide you to where you need to be. So you've got to, that's the whole mentality part of it. Your tax return, one of our 3 laws of teaching tax law, your tax return is a verb and not a noun. It's something that's happening every year. June 10th is just as important as December 10th when it comes to planning and strategy. So we've really got to think about that process. Now, it doesn't mean you've got to check every balance and call everyone every day, but it's just about creating a plan and making sure, now things could change, right? Let's say I'm driving here from gorgeous Franklin, Tennessee to Orlando. I know I'm going to shake my head when I go through Atlanta, Chattanooga, Atlanta, Ocala, all where but there might be a big accident and it might say, you know what, you want to get off the interstate and just go around. It's going to, 10 minutes is added to your trip, but if you stay on this path, an hour is going to get added to your trip. So I want to go around. So why am I bringing that up? You might think, you know what, I think I'm going to have this amount of income. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a big bonus. Okay, or all this rental property became vacant. We found out it's in a bad area. We're going to sell it. So let's adjust the plan to the situation. We don't want the tax tail to wag the dog, meaning look at my GPS example. You don't just stay on the path and say, I'm just going to drive around as long as I'm in no traffic without a destination. You figure out that destination, meaning legally not to be reducing the tax you pay in your lifetime, and your facts and circumstances could change. So you sometimes have to veer off your route, but you get back on it. And you just have that mentality that it's and then it comes down to this basically tax planning implementations, but start by changing your behaviors. Your behaviors will help you with figuring out, what to do and where to allocate your income, and just understanding that once you start diving into this, like not all income is taxed the same. Just like people that want to get in shape, they don't go to the gym. Well, some people do, I guess, and just go, you know what, I'm going to do biceps like 3 times a week. No, they do some cardio, they do some weights, they rotate around what body parts are exercising, and that's kind of that's how you have to treat your tax return. Understanding that the different incomes taxed differently. It's a team effort. And then it comes down and you might be watching this or listening to this and saying, this is great. I feel alone. I don't know where to start. I feel overwhelmed. Seriously, just jump in this. We do not make any revenue from our private Facebook group. It's actually, a liability when it comes to we put a lot of time into it. Jump into our Defeating Taxes private Facebook group. You can post anonymously. As you know, John, we are us and the other people in that group are very responsive to questions and help guiding people in the right direction.
And I'd love to know just how many people were aware of tax planning, not assumed or like, oh, I know what this is, but maybe how many people have taken advantage of it, haven't for whatever reason because they didn't know or anything else or plan to. I think would be very interesting. So maybe like a thumbs up, thumbs down. We'll put something here actually in in that group specifically asking this because I'd be curious, right? We're not asking for your social number, obviously. We didn't want your contact information. It's more of like a group survey. And then Chris, you're walking through this. I think about it when I asked the question earlier, right? Like, hey, who are the players in this game? It's very similar to like a nutritionist, right?
Yeah.
They're going to ask you questions. You know, hey, what foods do you like? You know, what's your goals? What's your days look like? All these questions leading up to them helping you develop a plan, right? They're going to give you the plan. They're not going to be, shoving protein bars down your throat and telling you to put the ice cream down. They're going to tell you what it is. It's up to the taxpayer to do it. But then taking that relationship even further, and we don't need to go into detail, but if something changes, we're like, I ate this the other day, then you shift, you adapt to it, but the goal stays the same, right? Or maybe it shifts, but it's all
Absolutely.
about that connection, leaning on somebody else, because you yourself is very hard for anybody to hold themselves accountable for every single aspect in their life. It's good to have those people. And that's really what the
Yes.
community's for.
And now it's getting dangerous too, because now there's a lot of people like to say bad information out there. There's a lot of, there's been actually the IRS has gone after a lot of quote unquote bad influencers giving bad tax information out. I don't really see as much bad information. I see misapplied information. Like, just pay your kids whatever the standard deduction is. That's no. We pay our children. They do work, as we're recording this, quite frankly, one of my teen kids is doing some work for us. Right. But it has to make sense. So it's not so now we're in this era that you can go online and find a bunch of stuff that's information, but if it's misapplied, it's bad information. Just like, unless you're a real freak, you're probably not going to put mustard and ketchup on your pizza. You put pepperoni on.
Try.
Doesn't mean mustard and ketchup's bad. It just means it's probably not going to be a very popular topping. So,
right. And Chris, on that, I'm gonna wrap on this, but I do want to say this because again, I feel like I'm more the audience than I am the educator. Obviously, you're bringing the brains. I'm bringing who knows what. But we're thinking about this, right? Is some people might ask us, well, why do you do 20-minute conversations on something as simple as it could take 2 minutes to describe what tax planning is and all this stuff, right? Because what you said, right? Sometimes, like I said, misapplied and not misinformation, but there's a million topics that cannot be said in a 30-second social media reel. And if somebody takes it out of context, it could destroy them. It could literally implode their entire tax plan. We don't have to give any examples of who it is, but we as humans on social in general have a very short attention span, and it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Where it's a lot more DIY self-education, but the thing is knowing the whole story. Where, like you said, you're going the one direction, which is okay, but you're going down the wrong path, and you can't just pull a U-ey and go back.
right.
You don't know until you smash into somebody. So I'll wrap on that. This might be the most analogies we've ever thrown out in an episode. And I think they all make sense. So hopefully they do for everybody else. Again, check out that Defeating Taxes group. We'll put that in there. We'll put it out. Just very curious on people's take on tax planning. Even if you're like, you guys still don't make any darn sense here, let us know. We're doing this for you. Me and Chris are going to hang out regardless, whether we record this or not, and probably have the same conversation. So we're doing it for you guys. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know how this one went. And we'll see you again next week, obviously.
Absolutely. Put some topic ideas in, and we'll
Keep 'em coming.
check them out. Yes.
And if you don't give us any topic ideas, then we're relying on Chris to come up with them, and we're going to get real nerdy. So we don't, all joking aside. But we will see you next week back here in the show. You guys have a fantastic week. And think about that. How much have you taken advantage of tax planning? Let us know.
The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature. It reflects the opinions of Teaching Tax Flow and does not take into consideration the viewer's personal circumstances. It is not intended to be a substitute for individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making any decisions. Securities are offered and supervised through Cabin Securities Inc. member, FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered and supervised through Cabin Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Chris Picciurro is a registered representative of Cabin Securities and an investment advisor representative with Cabin Advisors LLC. Teaching Tax Flow is an independent entity and is not affiliated with Cabin Securities or Cabin Advisors.